Hello and welcome back to the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign. I am Gary Reaver and this is the campaign round 4 video. So we have finally, after about a 2-month gap, again apologies for that, we have finally finished the third round of battles. They are available in the description. You should go check those out because obviously this will spoil the results of those, and I think they are well worth watching. First, we give victory points based on the results of the battle, so this is your final chance to go and watch them before the results are spoiled. The first battle was between Solland and Clan Deathtoll, in which Clan Deathtoll won with a narrow victory. This means that Solland gets 1 victory point and Deathtoll gets 3. The second match was the Skull Smashers versus Wizenland, in which Wizenland won with a massacre, giving them 5 points to the Skull Smashers 1. And then the final match was the Empire versus Sylvania, in which Sylvania won with a solid victory, giving them 4 victory points to the Empire's 1. Sorry, I've just realised I tend to use victory points interchangeably with empire points because frankly they are described as both in the Mighty Empires book, I think. But yes, they are empire points which are used to buy upgrades on the empire map. With all of their empire points now acquired, we go through in turn order denoted by the cards as they spend their empire points on the map. Starting with Solland, they only have 1, and as they don't have the land grab event, they cannot actually claim any more land. They are just going to raid. But before we get on to that, there is something about Solland I wanted to talk about. See, Solland has had a really rough campaign, and I think the reason for this is I severely limited their choice of options in the army lists. And it's because, you know, the premise of the campaign is they are rebels rising up against Wizenland, so they're not going to have access to a lot of the stuff that is a staple of Empire armies. I clearly badly underestimated how important these things were to the Empire army, and that is why Solland is at the bottom of the table, compared to Wizenland, which is at the top of the table. And, you know, Empire is in between, so it's clearly not the only thing that decides it, but is something I needed to address. So after Caster von Braun, the leader of the Solland faction, was injured early on in the campaign, he has now recovered enough that he can ride but not fight. So he spent this campaign turn riding around and recruiting both within and without Wizenland. He has managed to secure mercenaries from Tilia, such as greatswords and knights, and he's also used his connections with the Blazing Sun, who are quite annoyed about their leader being imprisoned by Wizenland, that they are willing to put Caster in touch with people so that he has been able to acquire some artillery via Aveland. So basically what this does is it comes up with a reason why Solland can now access more things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. They still don't get everything, you know, it would be crazy for them to field a steam tank or whatever, but it means that they can actually use artillery, which has been a massive hole in their army list this entire time. So we'll see if that makes a difference. Let me know what you think of this change in the comments. But yes, they are raiding. So they roll 2d6 and they get that much gold. And this isn't actually them raiding, I like to say, even though it makes no mechanical difference. I like to say where they're getting the gold from, and in this case, it's not raiding as much as it is fundraising. So he's gone round and he's gained some monetary support from who knows where exactly. Like maybe there are some people in Wizenland who don't like the changes, maybe it's Aveland, you know, who knows, but he's getting the money for these mercenaries from somewhere. So that's the 1 empire point, and also the gold and event are now removed. So they are back ready for the next turn. Next, the Skull Smashers did have the land grab event, which means they can spend their 1 empire point to claim their first tile of the campaign. They're not doing very well, so they have claimed this one. And like with here and here, I decided that if they are only partially mountain, they don't count as mountain for purchasing because mountains cost extra. So that new tile, along with the fact that they have a city, means they actually now are at an empire size of 3, which I believe puts them over Solland, who's only at 2. The Empire only has 1 point, so also can't grab any land, but they are going to build. So they have a river, and they are going to build a mine on the river, and that will increase their income in future turns. Clan Deathtoll have 3 to spend, and they are going to spend that on claiming a mountain. So they're actually going to expand here towards Sylvania, which is 2 for the claiming and 1 additional because it is a mountain, because they're harder to claim and more expensive and such. Sylvania has 4 empire points, so is going to claim 2 tiles, these 2 here, as they push into Averland. They're moving along the river because that's where they can build mines, and pushing into Averland to just claim this land as they keep winning these fights and pushing further in. And finally we come to Wissenland, who have 5 empire points to spend. They are also going to claim 2 tiles, 1 on this river and 1 here, and then they are going to build on the river to create a new mine to also increase their income. And as you can see, they are really cordoning off this area. They are stopping Solland from moving across, if they ever win a game, and generally just securing their land as they go. And before we go on to the next campaign turn proper, it's time to go through the characters. As we now have quite a large number of characters in this campaign, I'm not going to go through every single one and what happened to them. You can check out the individual games for those who've died. In this, I'll just mention the ones who have returned and are recovering, because we have a slew of characters who are now fully recovered and able to return to the fight. For the Empire, we have 2 characters who were injured and are now healed up. There is Arnold Pfeiffer, the Battle Wizard, and Sigmar Braum, the General. For the Skull Smashers, we have 2 Night Goblins who were both injured. There is Kiskir Ramshackle and Zarj the Zoblin. And I believe Zarj is in position to be the new leader of the Skull Smashers after Ugrok Cracktooth died. Sylvania has Laureus the Feeble from the very first battle. He has recovered his wizard level and is now able to return to battle. And in Wissenland, Otto Helshan has recovered from his injuries as well. All the others have had their recovery time reduced by 1 because a turn has passed, so a load more will be coming back next turn. But now we go into campaign turn 4. Determining turn order is done by empire size. So the empire sizes we currently have at the start of campaign turn 4, the Skull Smashers on 3, the Empire on 3, Sylvania on 7, Deathtoll on 5, Wissenland on 8, and Solland on 2. And technically the game should end when Wissenland or anybody reaches 10, but I'm not sure I will, because I think with this game I've had the map too big. I think they're supposed to be butting up against borders way, way earlier, whereas Wissenland has been able to expand basically untouched. There should be a lot more sort of conflict over individual tiles, so I'll know that for future games. But I may increase the requirement to win the campaign. Also, I enjoy the campaign. So starting with the one with the smallest empire going first, that would be Solland with 2. And then we have both the Skull Smashers and the Empire on 3. Normally, the tiebreaker is decided by who has the most cities. However, both the Empire and the Skull Smashers have a city. So instead, they roll off. So the Empire rolls a 6. And the Skull Smashers roll a 6. So the Empire rolls again. A 5. And the Skull Smashers roll a 6. Wow, that is a lot of high rolls. But the Skull Smashers have it, so they go second, with the Empire going third. And the last 3 are out of Chance's hands. It is Deathtoll with 5 next, Sylvania with 7, and then going last is Wissenland. However, they have the comfort of being the largest empire, which gives them a bonus in their fights. They now choose their events in the order of their turn. So Solland is going to go with Scouts. That means that in any battles this round, Solland's opponent must deploy their entire army first, and then Solland will get the first turn. And I will really, really try to remember they picked that, because I have a terrible habit of forgetting. The Skull Smashers are going to pick probably the best one, which is Land Grab. And the reason Solland didn't go for Land Grab is they really want to win a fight. And they want to win a fight more than they want to claim land. The Empire is up next, and they are choosing Disaster. And this means that they pick another player, and the player has to roll a dice for every city, mine, and castle they have. And I believe on a 6, it is destroyed. On a 1, sorry. On a 1, it's destroyed. So they are choosing Sylvania. So Sylvania has to roll 1 for each of their 2 mines and the city. So closest mine to the Empire. They're fine. Second mine. They're fine. Drakenhof. Ooh, that was a bit close, but they are also fine. Clan Deathtoll is going to go with Fool's Gold, which means they pick a player, and that player cannot collect any revenue from mines this turn. And they are going to target, you would think Sylvania, they're going to target Wizenland, because Wizenland is currently top of the board. They have a lot of money. Clan Deathtoll's on okay terms with Sylvania at the moment, even if they are expanding towards them in a bit of an aggressive way. But yes, they don't want Wizenland getting any more gold, as they are already getting the largest empire bonus. Sylvania is going to go with Diplomacy. So they pick a player, and that player may not challenge them this round. And they are going to use that on Clan Deathtoll, because yeah, they do see them expanding towards them, and they don't like that. But they send a little envoy. Mannfred sends a little envoy, and it's like, yeah, we're good for now. And then finally, Wizenland gets their pick of these 3, 2 of which are pretty terrible. So they're going to go with Building Boom, which allows them to immediately build on one of their tiles. So they are going to build a mine on this tile, this river tile here. Why is there a mine there? Oh, they built that. Did they build that? They did build that. Sorry, they built that mine earlier, and I forgot to place it, so they're going to build the mine here instead. They did still have space for it. Whoops. And now the revenue phase. This is when the mines on the board generate gold for them to spend in upcoming battles. So again, going round in turn order, mines generate 2d6 gold, so Solland has 1 mine. So they generate 8 gold. Not bad. Giving them a total of 12. I'm confused. They definitely only had 4 left, but according to my records, they should have had 6 after the last one. And I checked the other video, and yeah, so they should actually be on 14, 6 plus the 8 they just got. So I don't know how that ended up with 12, but weird. Hello, adding this in after the fact. I caught it in the edit. What happened was the 4 that they had there were the stuff they just got from the mine. They had 6 left over from the previous round, which I mistakenly deleted because I thought they used it in the battle. They didn't. So they should be on a total of 18. So nothing else changes except they're on a total of 18 instead of 14. Skull Smashers have nothing, so they gain nothing. They are still on a grand total of 0. I think I accidentally deleted the Empire's gold, because I keep putting it, I used to, I think I used to store the gold down here, and I get it confused with gold they'd spent on the battle, so I'm now keeping gold up here where it's less ambiguous. But I think I deleted the Empire's gold thinking they'd spent it, but again, according to my records, they hadn't. So they gain 2d6 in addition, so they gain, 9 more gold, giving them a total of 16. Clan Deathtoll has a mountain mine, which is a bit better than a river mine. It's 3d6 instead, so they gain 8. And they're already really quite rich, so they're now up to 26 gold. And considering they can only spend 25 in a single battle, they are doing very well for gold. Sylvania has 2 mines, which means they're going to roll 4d6 for their income. Right. I shouldn't do it like that, because mines can be exhausted if you roll a double. So one of those mines could have been exhausted if I'd, with this method. So I'm going to have to roll them separately. So the left mine gets 11, and the right mine gets 10. I also have this rule where if I mess up with the rolls, the second roll cannot be better than the first roll. So the first roll got, a total of 15, and the re-rolls got a total of 21. So I'm capping it at 15, and the second mine is exhausted. So that's just a way to be like, just to make it clear, I'm not re-rolling to rig things or anything like that. So the mine is exhausted and is just gone now. So it can be rebuilt, I believe, but it does generate the revenue for this turn, but not subsequent ones. So they're adding a whopping 15 to their 8, giving them 23, so they're almost as rich as Clan Deathtoll. And then finally Wizenland, with their 3 mines, don't get to generate any revenue because the Clan Deathtoll used Fool's Gold on them. So they are stuck at their 8. Into the challenge phase, again in turn order, they make challenges, and whoever they challenge cannot then challenge someone else. So Solland is going to start by challenging, surprise, surprise, Wizenland, because they now have a big influx of money. They know that through their spies that Wizenland hasn't gained any revenue this turn, so they are at their absolute best position to finally get a victory over Wizenland. Next, the Skull Smashers are going to challenge the Empire, and that's because Zarge is in charge. That wasn't intended to rhyme. He saw how badly it went attacking Wizenland last time, so he's focusing on the Empire, and he's really trying to carve out a bit of an empire of his own. Clan Deathtoll, they are making some moves here. They don't really see much gain in attacking Solland, but Wizenland are doing very well for themselves. They've just been impacted, which means that Deathtoll's agents are there, so they're just going to attack Wizenland. They're going to just emerge from the Under Network? What's it called? The Under Empire. They're going to emerge from the Under Empire and attack Wizenland, meaning that Wizenland is fighting 2 battles this time. And Sylvania, the last ones, they're not going to attack Deathtoll. They've just spent their time, keeping that cool for now. They are going to continue pushing through Stirland and Averland, and they are also going to attack the Empire. So the Empire and Wizenland both have 2 battles this round. And I could choose to have them as joint battles like we did when Deathtoll and Sylvania both attacked together, but there is no reason Deathtoll would work with Solland, and I'd say that the 2 fights of the Skull Smashers and Sylvania are at opposite ends of the Empire, so they wouldn't be at the same time either. So I'm going to do them all as separate battles. Continuing from last round where I had the battles be of different points values, people seem to like that, and I found it interesting too. So we're going to have Solland versus Wizenland as a 2,000, Skull Smashers versus the Empire as a 1,500, it's a bit smaller, Zarge is just finding his feet. Deathtoll versus Wizenland as a 2,000, and although they're fighting 2 2,000 point matches in this one turn, which they can't use the same characters for, they're doing well enough. They are the largest empire, so they are fully capable of fielding 2 large forces. And then Sylvania versus the Empire is another 2,000 because he is pressing his advantage and he's hitting them with as much force as he can. And again, the Empire is large enough that they can field 2 large forces. Before we wrap up, we should address gold. So first of all, Wizenland, they are the largest empire, which means they get an automatic plus 100 points to every army they field. Every army. So both of theirs are automatically at 2,100. Solland is going to put in all 14 gold, which gives them an extra 140 points in their battle. In return, Wizenland has to make a choice, because if they spend gold, it can only go into 1 army. So if they spend all 8 gold on, say, Solland, then they're fighting Deathtoll with none of that. Like, they still get the 100 for the largest empire, but gold is 1 use. So they are not going to put any into the Solland fight, because frankly, they get the 100 anyway, so there's only a 40-point discrepancy, and Solland have not beaten them once. Skull Smashers have none to put in, and likewise the Empire isn't going to waste any of their gold on a nothing faction that has not really challenged them. Deathtoll are going to put in some gold into this. Not the full thing, but they're going to put in 150 or 15 gold to get 150 points to exceed what Wizenland has by default. There we go, 15 gold. And because I do these sort of as they're aware of what each other's doing, Wizenland is also going to put in 5 gold so that they are meeting Clan Deathtoll on even footing. So they're both going to be at 2,150 points. Sylvania wants to commit some to this, but not a massive amount, because this isn't Mannfred's force that's going to be fighting here. So they're going to put in 5 gold for an extra 50 points, and the Empire will match that. So they will also put in 5 gold. So both armies are at 2,050. And that leaves every battle at equal points, apart from Solland versus Wissenland, where Solland has a 40-point advantage. And this is because, I don't know, part of me thinks it's unfair to have massively unbalanced points that could completely throw off the game. But at the same time, I think there are like logical roleplay reasons for them making all these decisions. So clearly Sylvania and Clandethol are keeping a large war chest back. Or, well, not Clandethol so much now, but Sylvania definitely. And that is going to come into play. So I'm not just going to kneecap them and say they can't ever use it to unbalance the game. You know, they're going to try it at some point just to see how it goes. But for now, we will not. So check out those matches in the upcoming weeks. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know how you think things are going. And let me know in the comments who you think will win. Place your bets. So subscribe for those and for more board games, card games, miniatures like this and TTRPGs. And I will catch you later.